Hi, I'm Neil Sackmary.
Hi, I'm State Trooper Sean Hagstrom with the Nevada State Police Highway Patrol Division, PEIO. Please stay tuned for the next episode of Trooper Talk.
And together, we can make a difference. Here we are live at the 360 Vegas studios with this edition of Trooper Talk. We have Trooper Hagstrom, and I would like you to please introduce yourself, as you are a very important guest that we've been trying to get on, and we're very excited to have you. Please tell us who you are.
Thank you for having me. First off, my name is Patrick Halligan. I'm a sergeant with the Investigation Division down here in Las Vegas.
Drugs, top right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of drugs.
Meth seizure there.
Meth.
And that was, again, one of our local ones down here, southern Nevada. So I'm not sure if we did that as with Highway Patrol, part of the interdiction folks, or through, again, that DEA component where we're working with the federal jurisdictions.
And there's a TV show that I watch on the weekends that has the live police officers. Okay. Right? And every once in a while, the police officer will pull someone over. Normal, I don't want to say routine, but a normal traffic stop, that, a person is just, window tint or, whatever it is. And all of a sudden, they open up the trunk and it's like, what is going on here? You know what I mean? And so, we're thankful for the troopers, right? Because they're out there on the front line doing that type of activity. And then they have to pass that information. So do you get called in the middle of the night and you're like, listen, there's something that needs to be investigated here?
So yeah, and I think you nailed it there. The troopers, patrol officers and stuff, they're the ones that generally will come in contact first. We don't have the manpower to go out and proactively try to find this stuff for the most part. So yeah, some trooper, patrol officer does a traffic stop, and through their initial investigation for whatever it is, a brake light or speeding, or they end up with something like this, and then they will generally call, depending on what's going on, we'll respond to them and then conduct additional interviews, or if it needs to be additional search warrants, and then try to find links to other people or houses, or ultimately, where it's going and coming from.
Yeah, we talk about that show all the time, but I mean, it's what when you're out there and you're patrolling, right? And we talk about it all the time, that you're not just out there just driving a car going, okay, you're looking for things as this is what you've been trained for, and this is what you've been doing. And so when it comes to when a traffic stop happens, it's not to be intrusive, it's to make sure what a person is doing and what they're saying is actually factually true, because unfortunately people sometimes don't tell the truth.
Oh, absolutely. And that was one of my best times, was being on highway drug interdiction, because I worked it for like 5 or 6 years, just doing highway drug interdiction, because that was my favorite. Pulling these vehicles over, seeing different indicators that we look for, and it's just a multiple stops before you run into something. And you're always going to run into something, because every day across this country, we don't even get not even 5% of the drugs that are going. And even though we're pulling off hundreds of pounds of dope off the roads, every other week or whatever, nobody really realizes how much drugs are coming and going all the time. But I tell you what, that was some of the best times when you open that trunk, like you said, and you got several hundred pounds of marijuana, or you have, 150 pounds of meth or whatever. And my greatest satisfaction being a trooper was that a lot of other troops would work different. If you were doing westbound, it was money. Eastbound was like drugs going back. You know what I mean? So you kind of knew what you were working, right?
Okay.
So, and a lot of people, they thought the money was impressive, but for me, it was always the drugs, because I always figured if I could get just one person, disrupt one load where one person was not able to get hooked on drugs, I was doing my job for society, And that was a big thing for me, was trying to get as much dope off the roads as I could. I got big albums full of, I've had a U-Haul truck that I pulled over one time, over 1,000 pounds of marijuana in it. And you know, and then even like you look at your airbags. I mean, they get so good and creative, cartels, as far as transporting narcotics. But I think one of my last cocaine seizures with the Highway Patrol was like 26 pounds, but it was in a very very planned out thing. It was in the glove compartment box, but it was built in behind it, and I was able to see it and break into it, and I got 26 pounds of cocaine out of that. So I mean, and that's what made my job exciting, and especially when I was a canine handler. Like I told you, I've had 3 police dogs that we used to do narcotics and do this full time. That's all I used to do, and I never had a bigger enjoyment of trying to actually go into work and being able to defeat the drug smuggler on the roadways, because you were actually seeing a difference with all the drugs that you were actually getting off the road. Even though you know, they always include it as the war on drugs, right? We've pretty much lost that. I hate to say that, but even though we're still taking big percentages of drugs off, there's just so much coming and go.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So.
And you know, I can only imagine, you know, from a law enforcement standpoint, and then like, you know, you see people every single day that are hooked on these drugs and stuff like this, and you're like, well, that stuff is coming from somewhere, you know. And so they have another show that I watch, which is the Contraband, which is how you know they show some of those people from the cartels on how they make the cars with the gas tanks that are you know a quarter full, and they can only go 6 miles, and you know, like all these things, and you're thinking like, you know, if all these people would just, you know, make their minds to do good things. Right. You know what I mean?
We
like
always say that about people in prison.
Holy smokes! I mean,
Yeah,
you know, I mean,
sure.
it would be amazing. And so, yeah.
And he was also right. You know, a lot of these investigations, not only for the investigation part for his side of his unit, even DEA, they rely on a lot of the officers, local and state, with these stops that actually generate a lot of their investigations. So let's say let's say that's 150 pounds of meth. You know, the investigators will talk with that person. They end up working with them, and let's say they're delivering that to another state. It's a controlled delivery. They'll work with the feds because we have to, because we don't have the jurisdiction to go out to different states. So we have to work with the feds, whether it's DEA or FBI, making that delivery. And then once they make the bust on that, then they start working on these other parties, and they just bring down other people or whatever through the investigation. I can't tell you how it all goes.
Yeah, of course.
But I mean, it's very, very well planned out how they do it, and it's been working very well for a while. But what I wanted to say is a lot of it starts just from the officer level or trooper level, and then it ends up going to investigations or your feds to. That's how they get most of their cases, especially the DEA. Most of their cases are not self-generated; they're through local agencies.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you, and you brought it up, and so let me get your thoughts on. I see money down here. I mean, I think money. I think, you know, you go to the bank, you ask them for $5,000 if you have it in your bank, and you know, you take out the money. I don't understand the big deal. Does that make sense? But I know that, you know, you can't travel on the plane with more than $10,000 in cash, right? But like, I see a lot of money there. And when you brought up the fact of the money, it just occurred to me that, oh yeah, they're selling things. That money needs to, like, you can't just fill up houses with it or something, right? I mean, so it has to. Like,
I would say yeah. Sometimes.
But I guess that's the
There's
truth,
houses
right?
full of it.
That somebody has to receive this money, right?
Right. And you could speak to it probably better, but it's going somewhere, right? There's generally the person driving or delivering stuff is not the head of the organization. So that money, that drugs gets delivered, and then it goes backwards, right, back to where it originated. So, yeah, there's money going somewhere, and that's the idea, is to disrupt it and then begin to piece together where it's going or coming from.
Yeah, and the drug smugglers are not the ones that bring the money back either. They use separate people that bring the money. They're more trusted individuals in the organization that they work for. And so those are the people that are actually bringing the money back every time. They don't use the drug smugglers. And then they always count on so many getting caught you know, they take a chance, hopefully, but they know they're going to get maybe 2 or 3 taken out. But for every 2 or 3, they got 10 or 15 going, you know, sending drugs out. So it's just an average of numbers for them, because they already put that in the aspect that we're going to lose a little bit here on the highways, but the majority, they're already getting by. And we used to talk about that. We used to have cars that were set up to get stopped or have us stop to tie us up while the big stuff was going. When I worked for another agency, and what the beauty was that we had other people watching, so we were able to get those cars that were tied in with when they were trying to throw us off on the big loads.
I mean, like this is
So,
like
yeah.
this is like fictional things that you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's
Sure.
like, and we're obviously only touching the surface, right? So, how long have you been with Nevada State Police?
I will, let's see, I will hit 20 years next month.
And so you've only done the investigation, or what did you do before?
No,
that?
I started with parole and probation. I did the basic academy with parole and probation and highway patrol, and then I streamed to parole and probation, and then into investigation division later. And then, oddly, I was with the investigation division for several years. Got assigned to a local task force, and then some 2010, 11, right? The budget crisis hit. They actually closed our office in Las Vegas for the investigation division. They kept 2 people assigned in different places, and then I got transferred under a different budget with highway patrol. So I worked with highway patrol for, I guess, the next 8 or so years. But still, I was assigned with the task force that I stayed on for a number of years, and then transferred back when they started to rebuild our offices down here.
Yeah. And how many people generally work for the investigative division?
So down here locally, I have myself and 9 detectives, and then statewide, I believe we are 32 detectives, 32 sworn, which includes sergeants, lieutenants, and captain and chief.
And
So very, very small compared to highway patrol or parole and probation.
Oh, so you have your own chief.
We do, yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Different chief, same director.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right,
Because
right.
we're all under Nevada State Police, so
Right.
they all,
Which is-
just like we got different majors
Right.
in different
Right.
areas,
Right.
they have their own chief, and so Capitol Police has their own chief,
Yep.
and then State Fire Marshal, I don't think they have a chief. Do they?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, they do? Okay.
it's a chief,
So every
Captain.
division has
Yeah.
like their own chief.
Their
doesn't
own
it? Yes.
chief. That's cool.
Absolutely.
their own chain of command.
I just want to, before I change the next picture, I just am totally boggled by the fact of all this methamphetamine.
Mhm.
But this is probably nothing in comparison to what is actually transporting. But we just need to stop, because these people are definitely driving on the roads.
Yes.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And those people that they catch on the meth on that TV show, some of those people are really like on something that they should not be driving, and they catch them all the time. But they don't do the state roads that they're on, like just the regular roadways, right? But these people are like this stuff is very bad news.
Well, they're watching it too. Sometimes they'll have a car that's ahead of them or behind them to watch if it's a pretty good sized load, to make sure it goes. And a lot of times they won't make stops. If they do make one stop, they know exactly, and they're calling them. They got like burner phones. They get rid of all the information they need, and they keep an eye on these big loads going across wherever they go. And a lot of these guys that are transporting these loads are not like your casual, I shouldn't say casual drug users, but they don't want them messing up, being all over the road or having issues, because they want to be around the speed limit and kind of watch everything and blend in with the other traffic, so they don't get caught and lose their loads. So
It's unbelievable. Look at this one. Look, there's a helicopter. Look, here's more of those things. Holy smokes.
Yeah, that's again
the
one
helicopter is there.
of the outdoor marijuana grows, and then the helicopter that again belongs to the National Guard unit. They provide some aerial support, surveillance, some of the reconnaissance information. but also, right, if those get lifted out, once they get cut, they can get bundled, and then they'll utilize the helicopters to lift them out so that people aren't hiking them out, because it will be several hundred thousand, well, not several hundred thousand, but several hundreds or thousands of pounds to carry out. So they'll bundle them and airlift them out, and drop them if they can.
And then if they wherever they go, then they just get disposed of. Is that generally
Typically,
what,
yeah,
they
would likely get transported and burned. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing is that this is like in between all the trees. I mean, this is like I don't hike. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I walk probably 50 steps and I'm already tired. You know what I'm saying? But like, yeah, like walking there in between the trees, and you know what I'm saying? And
if people didn't know what marijuana looked like, they would think it was part of the forest. That's why they,
that's what I'm saying. Like, I would walk through there and I'd be like, okay, this is like a green bush. I don't know.
Well, so from a long ways away, yeah, it blends in very well. But if you get up to it or near it, there is still the overwhelming smell of marijuana.
And the decent rows.
Yeah, and they're very, kind of neatly planted. And
it would be like a farmer's, like a farmer's thing, or
yeah,
right?
They do. They kind of make their own
I think of like a cotton field, and now you know what I'm saying.
It's unusual, right? When you see it, you would know it. I think for sure.
And so when I look at like the top picture, I mean, like the other one we saw, like the different types of firearms. I mean, this is like a real gun. I mean, it's not a real gun, but I'm saying like this is like the army or something. This machine gun.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I mean, you walk up to somebody and he's got that thing. I mean, this is not a good place.
So yeah, and like I think we had talked earlier, they usually go in conjunction with each other, right? Drugs usually have other things associated with them. Typically, it's going to be firearms. So that whole, I guess, enterprise of drug trafficking, yeah, typically you'll find firearms associated with it, and other weapons, or again the IED type stuff, but kind of goes hand in hand, it seems like.
Wow. And what's this? Bullet holes in a
front windshield?
Yeah, this. Yep, I think just one of the rural investigations we had were called out to process and assist. It's just kind of the array of things that we'll get tasked with, is drugs, or all the way from homicide stuff to fraud or prescription fraud. So we have a whole gamut of criminal things that we'll investigate.
You still get excited to go to work every day?
I do. I do.
Yeah. I mean, you always have a big smile every time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to know about this. This is the exciting part.
Well, it's this stuff, and like he said, right? You can, anytime you can disrupt something, right? This is a good thing. And then if we can find or get justice for families or victims or of these crimes, right? This is, I mean, it's fulfilling. So you never know. Like daily, we could, I could be here in Las Vegas tonight, or I might end up in Esmeralda County later. I don't know. And that's kind of, it's unique, but it's exciting because it's something different usually every day.
And that's one of the good thing about his job. So if anybody's ever looking to come work for us, just in his job description, like we said, they're statewide. So he could get a call to Ely tomorrow on a homicide investigation or something where they request it, and it breaks up the monotony. He's not doing the daily 9 to 5 same job, doing the same widgets every day. He's got something that he actually is investigating, and it could be any array of crime, right?
Yeah,
so
it's all through, and that's what, like you mentioned, part of the announcement comes with you're on call 24 hours, and then there's statewide travel. So our office generally goes north to Tonopah or Goldfield. It just depends kind of what the other team up north is doing, and then we'll hit Ely and everything up kind of as the state cuts in half.
You've been to the Goldfield?
Yes, yes.
You've seen the haunted things there?
Yes, yeah.
Really?
The
Tell me about
Goldfield.
it. I want to know about it. Yeah, tell me. You've been there. So like you actually witnessed?
No, I haven't seen any hauntings or anything.
Okay,
but the hotel still stands there.
Yeah.
And then it's across the street from the old, the courthouse, the jail, and the sheriff's offices in the building across.
Together.
There's a very popular TV show that
it's a
I've been through it.
it's a neat little
Private
place.
tour.
Yeah, Goldfield's pretty cool to go see.
Yeah, that's very cool. Anyway, totally off track, but you know what
No,
I'm saying? You
that's
know what I
great.
mean?
Again,
You know,
it's
it's
fun.
one of the perks of the fact of your job, right? I mean, and again, we're always trying to get people to want to join the Nevada State Police. We don't have Officer McClarty here anymore, who now became Corporal McClarty.
In the training division.
In the training
Yeah.
division, and so we always have to make sure that we keep continuing to tell, even though he's not here, his aura is here to make sure that we tell people about the fact that Nevada State Police is a wonderful place to work, and that you know there's really wonderful people there, and that you know you get to enjoy and try these different things, that you're not just sitting in an office. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? It takes a special person, right? But the thing is that it you know it's very exciting, right?
Yeah, and it special, yes, but really it's more just a different focus, right? We have more time to do different things, and it's obviously stuff you can learn, but without patrol, without parole and probation, yeah, we would have probably a lot fewer cases, because again, they generate the stuff for us and then allow us to shift a different focus on long term versus just what they can do on the side of the road or, you know, at a home contact. So,
All right, last and final thing, we're going to look at this camera right here. See, it was only an hour and 12 minutes. You did good.
Yeah.
All right, we're just going to wave. And we're going to say, see you later. Bye-bye.